Where are you, New Year? Why can't I find you? What's taken you so long? Hey there, it's Bobi, aka Paginator. Sorry for the singing, I just couldn't help myself today. I am here to share my January TBR with you. So, recently I showed you that I had ordered Jesse's deck of TBR, which is the original deck of TBR, my inspiration for my deck of TBR. And so what I've decided to do, starting in January, is I am going to pick 3 cards from my deck and 2 cards from Jesse's deck to continue with my 5 books a month. I hope that I can keep it up. This upcoming semester I have 3 literature classes. One, because I wrote the syllabus for it, it's an independent study, is a mix of reading and writing, but the others are a lot of reading, so I'm hoping that I can still get to 5 for fun books during the month of January, so we'll see how this goes. It could be that February's TBR I'm pulling like 2 cards. I don't know. Cross your fingers for me. Okay. So, yeah, I guess we'll start with the cards from my deck. As I said, I'm going to be pulling 3 from this one and then 2 from Jesse's. So let's just pull a card and flip it for you. It says, read a book you meant to read before this year. Yeah, I've got a couple of those. Okay, so for this prompt, I'm going to be picking Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I have been intrigued by this book since I heard Natasha from Tashopolis raving about it, and probably like literally years ago. This is a new adult age novel, I believe, and our characters are Tate and Miles, and they're really attracted to each other, but it's like a hate to love thing, like, I'm not even your friend, but gosh, you're gorgeous, kind of a situation. And they kind of come up with this no strings attached arrangement. They have 2 rules: don't ask about the past and don't expect a future. And then everything is different when real emotions start to change the equation. I have been kind of craving a good love story, so I'm really hoping this will come through for me. So that will be my pick for a book I meant to read before this year. Alright, pick number 2. Let's see what we have. Read a book where the main character has a disability. That might take me a minute. Okay, that didn't take as long as I thought. I grabbed The Extraordinaries by T.J. Klune. I recently hauled this book. I got it at Barnes & Noble just before Christmas, based on the recommendation from a book training for teachers that I attended. This is a young adult novel involving superheroes, and our main character has ADHD. Okay, I need to describe this well. So, the setting is Nova City, and superheroes live among us. And Nick, our main character, writes stories about these superheroes, and I guess he's kind of being successful at that, but it says, until a chance encounter with Shadowstar, Nova City's mightiest hero, and Nick's biggest crush, changes everything. Nick is no longer satisfied writing about heroes. He wants to become one. He sets out to make himself something extraordinary. So he's definitely more involved in like the writing about the superheroes rather than doing his homework. Plus, having ADHD is going to make that difficult. And then he wants to become something extraordinary. Maybe catch the eye of that crush. Who knows? If you don't know, T.J. Klune, he wrote The House in the Cerulean Sea, which, unless something changes in the next 2 days, because I'm filming this on December 30th, is my #1 book of 2020. So I'm very much excited for more from this author. Alright, for book number 3 from my deck, read a poetry collection or novel written in verse. That might take some hunting. I found one. It took a few minutes. I'd be grateful that I cut those parts out. You'd be staring at those books for a while. This is Hidden by Helen Frost, and the tagline says, an accidental kidnapping leaves 2 girls grasping for answers. This author is a Prince Honor book author, which is impressive because the prince is all about the writing, the quality of the writing. This says, when Ren and Dara met at summer camp, they recognized each other instantly, although they never actually seen each other. It's been 6 years since something happened that affected them both profoundly. Dara's father stole a car and drove it home, not knowing that Ren was hiding in the back. Dara was the only one who guessed that Ren stayed hidden in their locked garage. For Ren, hungry, thirsty, trapped, and terrified, the hours dragged on as she searched for a way out. Now in Cabin 8 at Camp Oakwood, each girl knows the other's most private secret, and neither of them wants to talk about what happened. Will they ever learn the truth about their past, or will they be left grasping for answers? This sounds like it might be quite emotional / intense, but intriguing. Alright, so now is going to be the first time picking from Jesse's deck of TBR, and I am super excited. These cards, when I did haul them, I did go through and show all of the cards and read all of the prompts, but I have forgotten most of them because stuff happens and other things are in my head. So we're just going to give these a good shuffle and draw out a couple of prompts for the month of January. So the first one I pulled is Filial, Own Voices book centering a Muslim family. Now, I'm hoping I have one. Hang on. Alright, we have a situation. So I thought I maybe had one because I have Darius the Great is Not Okay, which has Iranian family members, and a lot of times because Muslim is such a prominent religion in that country, that will be featured. But I did look it up, and his family are Zoroastrian, which is not Muslim. So that's not going to work. And I have combed the shelves and I can't find one. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to set this card aside, and I'm going to do some research to find a book that will fill this prompt. But for now, because I'm trying not to spend more money than I need to, because I've already bought a lot of books recently. Those of you who've been watching my hauls will know. I'm going to set this aside and come back to it after I can do a little bit more research and book buying. So we're going to try again for first card from Jesse, and I have pulled the Get Out card, which says featuring your greatest fear. Now this one has a spider on it. I like Ron Weasley. I'm not a fan of spiders. Is that my greatest fear? I don't think so. Hang on. Alright, you're going to have to follow my thinking on this. I am picking El Lazo by Darcy Little Badger, which is a Native American Own Voices novel about a girl who is part of the Apache tribe, and she has the power to raise the ghosts of dead animals, and there's lots of magical elements here, but her cousin is murdered. Now, the reason I picked this is, as I sat and thought about what is my greatest fear, I think that it's that something awful will happen to one of my family members, specifically my nieces and nephews, because they're children. Yikes. And then I thought of this book, and I've been wanting to get to it as from the moment I picked it up off the shelf at Barnes & Noble. So we're going to make this one fit with the prompt. You're going to have to go with me. Alright, that brings us to our last card, and it is going to be R.F. Kuang, science fiction fantasy with an Asian protagonist. I think I've got some of those. Or at least one. I've got to have at least one, right? I'll be back. Okay, I think I found one, but I'm not 100% sure, so I grabbed a backup. So my first choice is The Unexplainable Disappearance of Mars Patel. I did speak about this in my last big giant book haul that I posted on Christmas Day. This is based on a podcast of the same name, and it is about middle grade kids who keep disappearing, and no one at the school seems to care, so of course the kids have to track down their missing friends. Mars Patel, that name just seems like Patel. It seems in the East Indian, right? I'm not up in the night, I don't think. But just in case I'm making wild assumptions, I also grabbed Forest of Souls by Laurie M. Lee. This has been talked about by a lot of people, including Shweta Strakar, who wrote Star Daughter, and she really enjoyed it as well. This is about Saoirse. Let's see. It says, unveiled as the first soul guide in living memory, Saoirse is summoned to the domain of the Spider King. For centuries, he has used his influence over the dead wood and ancient forest possessed by souls to enforce peace between the kingdoms. Now with the trees growing wild and untamed, only a soul guide can restrain them. As war looms, Saoirse must master her newly awakened abilities before the trees shatter the brittle peace, or worse, claim Sango, the friend she would die for. So this one definitely fits science fiction fantasy, and I believe this is going to be science fiction because of some of the information I've read about it. Like, there's tech elements and like Stranger Things-ish vibes going on and stuff. So we'll just kind of see which one works for that. And there is a slight chance too that this could be checked out by one of my kids during the month of January and I not see it, because I usually let my students keep books for up to 3 weeks, which is plenty of time to read a book, especially one like this that has short amounts of text on the pages. Like, look at that. You could breeze through that thing. It's just not going to take all that long, especially in the first few pages. There's very small amounts of text on the page. But we're talking about middle schoolers. Not the most rational thinker sometimes. And some of them think, oh, I'm excited for this book, I want to check it out from this page, and then I never see it, like, for a month even, and I'll be on them going, where's my book, where's my book, where's my book, you're gonna have to pay for it, where's my book? And finally they bring it back. Haven't read a word. Now that's not true of all kids, that's just some I'm saying, but I'm just kind of floating the idea that this one might be checked out and I'll need a backup anyway, so there we go. Gosh, that took some long-windedness that you probably didn't care about. So we're going to wrap this thing up. That is going to be all for my TBR for the month of January, and I hope you all are having a wonderful and bookish day. Happy reading. Adios.